So I do all the cooking since we moved to New Mexico.
Okay.
And like everybody else, you get burned from time to time.
Yeah.
So each time I got burned, I'd grab my hand and look at it very intently and say, we're okay. And it only took about 3 or 4 episodes for it to work. And the burned area doesn't even get red. The pain goes away within a split second. And there just isn't any burn. Mm-hmm. And anybody that doubts this, all we have to do is to try it.
Well, we wouldn't recommend that they deliberately hurt themselves.
Oh, no, but, every time something like that happens, why, the other day I smashed my thumb with a hammer.
Uh-huh.
It's a product of having trifocals. So you have several nail heads to choose. Anyway, I immediately grabbed my hand and said, we're okay. And the pain went away.
Okay.
But I do have to admit that the thumbnail was damaged, but it wasn't tender.
Well, I think a lot of people don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, don't they say that we have a completely new body every 28 days?
No, that's not quite right.
Because the cells are constantly replacing themselves.
They say that we have a new body down to the last atom every 7 years.
7 years, but they say because it's constantly replacing itself, isn't it? Every so many months or so.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
For instance, your heart muscle, half of it is replaced every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And millions of red blood cells are destroyed every minute.
Yeah.
And the same number are regenerated. So the repair of the body goes on at a breakneck pace, and of course we're unaware of it.
This is why we can heal ourselves and make ourselves sick, because the cells are constantly replacing themselves.
Right. Yeah, if you constantly think that there's something wrong with your liver, eventually your liver is going to change its function.
It must cooperate.
And something will develop in it, yeah.
Oh. Well, in my work, it's come up. I work a lot with the subconscious, and it tells me a lot of things. It says that even after the physical body dies, that all of the cells don't die at one time.
Oh, no.
That it can take as long as 3 days, that each cell is a living thing, and it has a lifespan.
Right.
And it can take as long as 3 days for all of these cells to complete their lifespan and also die.
That's true, and even cells and things like ligaments and tendons live a lot longer than that.
Oh, okay.
Now, to take this further, there isn't any such thing as a completely dead body. Because even after the spirit leaves, the atoms are still alive. Because atoms are made up of these units of consciousness too. So they will eventually be recycled into another living thing.
Okay. Well, everything is energy.
Yes.
And even down to rocks and plants. Because
right.
In my work, I've had people relive lives where they were rocks and plants and animals.
Yes, of course.
And it's all it's all energy. It's just vibrating at different frequencies.
Yeah, and rocks are alive too.
Yes, and they vibrate at very slow, dense vibration.
The consciousness in rocks is sort of in a state of suspended animation.
Yeah.
Or in a trance-like state.
Because, I think I've had enough shows now that the listeners know I've had some very strange cases. But I had someone who experienced being a rock, and I'm writing about this in my new book, The Different States of Life. And he says being a rock was very slow.
Yes.
But, he didn't have to stay in it very long before he went on and experienced other forms.
Well, I had a friend that recalled an incarnation in which she was in a statue.
A statue, okay.
Yeah, and she identified so closely with the statue that when people would admire the statue, she took it as a personal compliment.
Ah.
So I don't know how long she stayed in the statue.
Yeah.
But in this incarnation, she just loved little figurines. And her house was full of bric-a-brac with all sorts of little figures and stuff. And it was a carryover from her love of having spent a considerable time in this statue.
Because everything is energy, and I found everything is lessons. It's just to experience different forms.
Hello.
Right. Exactly.
And, in my book, The Convoluted Universe, Book 1, I had someone go back to a life as a mechanical being.
Yes.
More or less like a robot that had been created, and it had feelings, and it was alive.
Yep.
And people told me later they had a lot of trouble understanding that, but it was showing us that anything,
Yeah.
that you don't have to be a human or something like that.
No, the other thing people need to understand is that humans don't necessarily look like us. Anything is technically human if it has a human spirit within it. So a fly or a snake or a robot is technically human if it contains a human spirit.
Yeah, and, well, it depends on what you want to call it, because I've found the spirit just goes from body to body so we can learn the experience and have
Can anyone hear me?
to learn the lessons.
Right.
That's why I've had many cases where they've been on other planets and in other kinds of bodies we wouldn't consider human at all.
Right.
But it was to learn the lesson of what it was like to be in that body.
I hear somebody trying to say hello. Do you?
Well, I kept hearing some kind of sound like a call forwarding or something.
Yeah, okay.
But, I heard some little sounds. Well, I don't know if some spirit out there is trying to get on the line. I hope not.
Well, I thought maybe it was somebody using this phone number.
I don't think so. I heard some beeping, but it wasn't like other sounds.
Okay.
Let me tell this story, too, right at this point. I think it would be a good point to tell it. The way I met OT is very strange. And, we do so much work like this. We do believe in the other side. We believe we have guides and guardian angels, and this is not strange to us. And I think most of the people out there who are into metaphysics understand this. Anyway, OT first called us because he was trying to get his second book published, and he said the way he found out about us was that he received our catalog. We do every couple of years, we do a mass mail out to all of our mailing list when we have new books and we have a new catalog coming out. We have about 10,000 on our mailing list. So he received the catalog, and he called up and was wanting to know if he could send his manuscript to us. Then he said, "How did you get my name for the catalog?" And I said, "Well, you must have signed a mailing list. A notebook. Whenever I do a lecture, I put a notebook out, and I have people sign the mailing list. Or the people who've read my books will send mail-in letters, and this is how I accumulate my mailing list." And he said, "No." He said, "I'd never heard of you, and I'd never heard of your company before. I know I never signed anything because I've never been to one of your lectures." So it was kind of strange. And then he said, "How did you get my real name?" Which made it even stranger.
Hello, Dolores.
Hello?
Hello.
Who is that?
I am calling you. I'm listening to your program.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On my computer.
We don't have people call in. I'm sorry.
I know. Well, you said
saying hello.
You said you wanted someone to call, so here I am.
You're a first. Okay, go ahead and ask the question, then I will finish the story.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I didn't know when
I just never had it happen yet, so I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. I've been listening to the doctor that you're talking to.
Yeah.
And first of all, I wanted to say that I use that method on myself a lot already without ever having recognized that this was something that other people had discovered.
You mean the talking to your
Oh,
body?
absolutely.
And using the terms we?
Yes, to some extent.
Yeah.
But that would maybe be more helpful. But I also have a question. I'm almost 75 years old. In fact, I'm your age, Dolores.
Yes.
I was born the same year you were. And I have a condition in my body called WENS, where does the doctor know what I'm talking about?
I can't hear her, Dolores.
Oh, you can't hear her?
No.
Your connections aren't too good.
Okay, she's asking a question. Or can you hear her at all?
Not now.
Okay, she was asking.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Ask OT the question.
All right. My question to you, doctor, is about WENS. That's spelled W-E-N.
Yeah.
You know what those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like little pockets of flesh.
Yeah, I know what they are.
Yeah.
They're pockets of joint fluid.
Joint fluid?
Yeah.
Well, I have several of them on my knee. I have one in the middle of my right calf, and I think one on my left elbow. What can I do to get rid of those?
That doesn't sound like a wen. A wen is a little bubble that comes off of usually a tendon sheath, and it's filled with joint fluid.
Oh, so these are more fleshy, and maybe I've got the wrong name.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
You maybe are talking about sebaceous cysts.
Pardon?
A cyst.
A sebaceous cyst.
All right. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The only way I know to get rid of those is to have the doctor cut them out.
You're kidding.
No, it's a minor thing.
Yeah.
Gets a little Novocaine in and peels it out.
But I want to let you know that I haven't read your book, but I may definitely order it because what you're talking about is exactly what I've been practicing on myself for years.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, because it works.
Of course it does.
And you said you're my age. Are you pretty healthy?
Well, yes, actually, and that is only because I work at it.
That's the thing.
Yeah, in fact,
you don't have time to get sick.
Right. In fact, I was.
Okay. Well, I thank you for calling in.
Okay. Well, it was nice to hear your voice. I want you to know also that I have read most all your books.
Okay.
And am rereading some of them. I love the Convoluted Universe book.